And you'll see at the foot of the page, and sorry, before we get to the details, due to a failure to change a software setting, all of these chats between you and Mr. Nkosi are in what is called UTC, which is 2 hours behind South African time. So when there's a time in a chat between you and Sergeant Nkosi, you need to add 2 hours to it. To complicate matters further, the chats between Sergeant Nkosi and Deputy Chief Dlamini did have the software setting changed, so they are in South African time. But if you see at the bottom of page 133, on the 26th of February, with a timestamp 9:45:50 a.m., which actually means 11:45:50, you ask Sergeant Nkosi, who is Sipho Nkomo or Joe Mabunda from TMPD? You see that?
I see that, Chair.
Why did you ask Sergeant Nkosi who Sipho Nkomo and Joe Mabunda were?
Okay. Thanks, Chair. For this instance, we're sitting in engagement. Within this engagement, I was aware that these two individuals are responsible for VIP services for the city. At one point in time, Chair, the individual, Mr. Sipho Nkomo, with his colleague, I think from my perspective, unceremoniously removed my VIP security without explaining too many details. Nonetheless, it was okay. We proceeded as is, and I needed to ensure that it's him, so I'm able to have a discussion with him and confront him on why can't you at least follow due processes and ensure that you inform me in the event that the city decides that there are no longer any risks that are facing me, and further to that, my VIP security is, for whatever reason, which is justified, I'm sure, removed.
So this related to the removal of your VIP protection?
Yeah.
And when was your VIP protection removed?
About December.
So between December and, for how long was it removed?
Ever since.
So between December and the end of February, you had no protection officers assigned to you?
No.
And you were told that it was Sipho Nkomo and Joe Mabunda who were responsible for that decision?
Yes, by my VIP protection, who informed me that they had been reassigned by these two gentlemen.
Why did you want to know? Well, I suppose I'll pull that question back, because I think it wasn't going to be a fair question. Can we then go down? Sergeant Nkosi, I suppose the first question is, why did you ask Sergeant Nkosi? He's not part of Tshwane.
So I knew he knew many people within the city of Tshwane. I was aware of that fact.
He then sends you a picture, if we go over the page to 134, and he said, that's Sipho, and he sends you a picture of someone whom I imagine is Sipho Nkomo. You see that?
I see that, Chair.
Your response is, okay, taking him off this one. What did you mean by that?
Chairperson, I think there must have been an autocorrect issue here. I meant I want to take him on. I needed to confront him in reference to the unceremonious removal, from my perspective, of my VIP security. That was the context around this discussion.
An autocorrect. So what did you actually want to say?
I'm taking him on. I need to take him on. So you can at least have the decency to explain to me.
So it should have read, okay, taking him on this one.
Yes.
But taking him on this one doesn't make sense.
Taking him on, confronting him, having a discussion with him, and having him elaborate and clarify on the reasons why my VIP security was removed without the city explaining to me. So I needed to take him on, Chair.
So basically you wanted to say you were taking him on this one.
Yes, I want to confront him.
So what you would have typed is taking him on this one, 2 ons, and that autocorrected to off.
I can't confirm that, Chair, but I can just state what I was intending when I was sending this discussion and how I understood the discussion that was ongoing.
And Sergeant Nkosi knew exactly what your concern with Joe Mabunda and Sipho Nkomo was.
Yeah, Sergeant Kosi was a friend of mine, Chair. So we had discussed these issues and I had informed me that, hey, you'll never believe this, my city just withdrew my VIP security. So he might not have known who these were at this point, but he was aware of the circumstances that we're discussing.
When we asked him about this, he didn't indicate anything about a security detail that had been removed.
Yeah. Chair, I can't confirm on what Sergeant Kosi was stating. I think from my perspective, I want to give an account on exactly what I meant under the context of this discussion, how I understood it then, and what the context was now, and how I presumed he understood it then. His response, I can't really account for that, Chair.
We go down, and if you go down to page 130...
Just one minor point, Mr. Chairperson. And your emoji there, what are you pointing at?
Pointing up.
Yes.
At-
What exactly does that signify in this context?
I'm taking him on this one.
So you are taking on Sipho. Are you pointing at Sipho? You are
Yes,
taking
yes.
on Sipho.
In the context of this discussion, yes, Chair.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Chairperson.
Then if you go over the page, 135, Sergeant Nkosi sends you a Facebook link to a video of Joe Mabunda, and your response, you see that?
Yes, Chair, I see that.
And your response is really 3 laughing emojis.
Yeah.
Why 3 laughing emojis?
The video, Chair, was a lady giving him flowers. Should have been the other way around from my perspective. Normally gentlemen give ladies flowers.
And you don't say anything about taking on Sergeant Mabunda.
No, I have
Sure.
to deal with his boss. As far as I'm concerned, his boss was his superior.
I see. Did you know at the time that Sipho Nkomo and Joe Mabunda were the only 2 TMPD representatives on the BEC?
At the time, no, Chair, I can't confirm that.
Do you know now that they were the only 2 TMPD representatives on the BEC for TMPD 1?
I know now, Chair, that the Chief of Police and their delegates seconded these 2 individuals to be the specialists that the department wanted to form part of TMPD 01.
Mnisi, your question to Sergeant Nkosi, who is Sipho Nkomo and Mabunda, suggests you didn't know them and where they sit in the organization,
True.
as in their positions.
No, I didn't know where they sit, and I didn't know their faces.
Did you know that they are responsible for your security?
Yes, my security detail would inform me that the brigadier in charge would be this individual.
Okay. And who was the head of your security internally? Head of security in Tshwane?
Head of VIP or head of security?
VIP.
This is the gentleman who's in charge of that, the brigadier involved. According to my understanding, as part of their structure, it's a function delegated to him. Of course, the chief boss is the chief of police.
Okay. So why do you ask Mr. Nkosi who is Nkomo and who is Mabunda if your protectors have told you that they've been withdrawn by these 2 gentlemen and you know that these 2 gentlemen are in fact responsible for VIP security? What in fact were you asking Mr. Nkosi then?
I know their names, but I don't know them by face, Chair. So I was asking if, does he know these individuals? He says, yes, I know them. And then he sends me pictures.
You,
Then I could at least...
you knew the names, you didn't know the faces?
Exactly, didn't know the faces.
Okay, thank you.
Can you please clarify this, Mr. Mnisi? Remember I asked you earlier, what role do you play in the appointment
Yes.
of BEC members? And your explanation was that they are appointed by the city manager, but you do play some role. In other words, if there's somebody who's not suitable, you can say to the city manager, that person is not suitable.
Spot on, Chair.
Now, why is it that when this question is asked by Ms. Cheskalsin in relation to the membership of these two people, you say you did not know that they were members of the BEC?
At this point, Chair,
Why did you not know if you play a part in the appointment of BEC members?
Chair, on a daily basis, I deal with hundreds of emails. So I would have seen this, and my point of evaluation, even if it was at this time, hypothetically, let's say what is this time. My role in terms of assessing whether a BEC is compliant, I need to check three things. One, adequate representation from a supply chain management function. Two, adequate representation from the user department. Three, adequate representation from the owner of the tender. I don't check names, Chair. I check functions. Once I receive confirmation, the chief of police or delegate have designated individuals, I'm comfortable. And whether those individuals form part and parcel of that committee, I'm comfortable. Similarly, with Human Settlement Department in this case, once I confirm and receive surety that the function is represented, I'm clear. It's a tick box exercise for me, it's compliant.
Let me put it this way then. When that BEC was appointed, you have received the name people who are nominated. And in that list, these two people would have been there. At best for you, you can say, I didn't pay attention then, but I must have got it and they were there.
Chair, what I can confirm is that I must have been obviously carbon copied on the submission that was sent to the city manager, but I do pay attention, and I pay attention on functions. Chairperson, we've got in excess of 23,000 employees at the city of Tshwane. So I need to pay attention to function. That's what keeps me sane in terms of accountability, that the key baseline building blocks have been dealt with accordingly. I'm unable to recall names as opposed to functions. I rather deal with functions. It gives me a sanity check that indeed compliance has been met.
The latter answer is more acceptable than the first one, because the first one you said you did not know, but when you say they must have been there, I just didn't pay attention, I accept that, but the first one just did not make sense to me.
Why did you need to know the faces of the people who'd apparently taken your security detail away? What were their faces? Why were their faces important to you?
Just to put the name to the face, Chair. No particular reason.
Did you write to anyone in relation to the removal of your security detail?
No, Chair, I accepted it. It's a city's decision. If they decide to withdraw my security, all I can do is accept it and move on, even if they don't explain to me the reasons why.
So you didn't take anybody on this?
No, Chair.
But at the time that you spoke to Sergeant Nkosi, it was your plan to take somebody on?
I thought about it at that point, Chair. Remember, my security was withdrawn in the period of December, roughly December, if I'm not mistaken. I accepted it at that, between December, January. At that point in time, I then encountered this and I said, hey, I should have confronted this individual. But I didn't, because I saw no need to, Chair. So it's city's discretion to provide me with VIP services or not.
Sorry, I'm just trying to follow that answer. So in February, when you asked Sergeant Nkosi who Nkomo and Mabunda, who they were, you knew that they were in charge of security detail. You knew that they had taken away your security detail, and they'd done that in December. You didn't put two and two together and reflect on the fact that they were the two BEC members on TMPD 1 of 24-25?
At this point, no, Chair.
you wanted to know their faces. You intended to take them on in February, at the end of February, but you subsequently decided not to.
It was pointless for me, Chair.
I see. And
Why did you not just go to Nkomo's office? I mean, you say you knew where they sit. These are your colleagues. Why didn't you just go to his office to confront him instead of sending this, at the time as you sent this message? Why didn't you go to his office?
Like I said, I had accepted. And in December, this happened. In those 2 months period, I had accepted what had happened. And in me sending, I said I should have. I ultimately didn't because I saw no need in pursuing the matter further. And I didn't know where they sat as well, Commissioner. They sit in a completely separate building, and most of the times these are individuals who are on site.
Yeah. Well, you're writing in February and you say, I'm taking him on.
Yes.
So my question is, at the time that you write the WhatsApp message, why don't you go to his office? Because you know who this person is. Why don't you go to them to take them on if that was the intention?
I think I was busy with more important matters than to prioritize this personal matter. That the city had decided to remove my guards. It would have been taken as a personal matter, and I needed to ensure that I disassociate any formalities from that. Hence, there was no need for me to pursue the matter any further. But I should have. In my mind, I should have. I shouldn't have let this thing go because it's unfair. A normal process that must happen is that if you withdraw individuals' security detail, decency to tell them.
Yeah.
You don't do that. I hear from the detail themselves saying, Mr. Mnisi, we're not coming to pick you up today.
Yes.
We have been reassigned.
Well, we know you didn't take it up, so I think we are past that. A different question, do you have any idea why Mr. Sergeant Nkosi would mention to you or would consider it necessary to mention to you that Joe Mabunda is going on pension this year if all you're doing is asking about matters of security that you have discussed with him? Sergeant Nkosi knows you are asking these questions about these two people because of your security, the withdrawal of your security. Why do you think he would find it necessary to mention to you that he's going on pension this year?
Must have been additional information sharing, Chair. I had no interest in that. Must have been just informing me what he was aware of.
Okay. Thank you.